we should grow this the service area, as was Commissioner Gilbert. But this is the service area for the time being. So within the blue shaded area, what riders will be able to do, or customers will be able to do, is book a ride via mobile app on a Ford Transit van. I'll show you some pictures of the vehicles momentarily. And within this service area, if your destination and origin are within the service area, it'll be curb to curb. So basically like an Uber or a Lyft. If you're coming from outside of the blue shaded area, or if you're traveling from the blue shaded area to other parts of the six-city region, the connection points will be here at the Alpine Mire, and then down here at Walker Village, which will connect to Route 7. So the idea here is a seamless connection between our entire fixed route system and the on-demand service that will be operating in this zone. From a logistical and operational standpoint, the fare to ride this service will be the same as the fare for our regular bus service. For an adult, that's $1.75. We accept two forms of fare payment on our bus service: cash or our Wave card, which is an e-fare, like a tap card, if you're familiar with that technology from other transit systems. So you can use that seamlessly to transfer between our big buses in this on-demand system. When you use the Wave card, there's a free transfer. So say you started your trip in the zone and you needed to get out to a different part of the six-city area, you would just pay once, then transfer onto the fixed route system and go from there. As you can see, the hours in the days of the week are relatively limited. Our intent is to expand those as we go forward, but as I mentioned, we're in a beta testing phase at the moment, trying to really work the kinks out with both the service, the logistics of putting the service on the road, and some of the technology. As I mentioned, this is new to us to be utilizing an app for booking transit service, so we've been working very closely with the vendors, with our team internally, and then with customers that have started to test the service, just to find out what's working, find out what we need to change, and we'll try to iron those kinks out as we go forward. But as I mentioned, our intent is to expand these hours. We've spoken with a lot of employers in the zone that you see here, and obviously, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is not going to cover all the shifts that require or need transportation at this point. We've had some great conversations though around, immediately this service can solve some problems for folks coming on to second shift. There are some of the employers we've spoken with have a start time a little before 6 a.m. So we're trying to figure out ways that we can stretch that span of service out. But during the beta testing phase, those are the hours of operation. We've definitely been we've done a little more of a soft launch around this from a public promotion standpoint. So one of the reasons you haven't seen this in the local news or paid advertising is that we really wanted to roll this out intentionally at the beginning, as I mentioned, to really kind of work out some of those kinks that we have encountered and that we expect to encounter as we perfect the service. We will be moving forward with more employer outreach. We're in contact with a lot of the folks up in this zone quite often, trying to figure out ways we can set up programs for their employees to test this for free, but they've been great. We've talked to Challenge Manufacturing, Canona, Playson, Composite, a lot of different employers working with the right place. They've given us a great directory of folks to contact. And all the employers we've talked to, when we mention, that we're testing this, be patient with us, they've been very receptive and very accommodating. So we're looking forward to expanding that and finding new partners to help us test. So this is what it looks like on the road. These are Ford Transit vans. They're 8 seated. They are also wheelchair accessible. The wheelchair will load from the rear here. And this has all the technology on board. There's a tablet that our drivers use to see when trips are booked and map where the trips go. And then the sign in the bottom left corner here is what you'll see at the hubs, so at the Alpine Mire and Walker Village, to delineate from what our normal bus signs look like. We want customers to understand that this is where you pick up the on-demand service, to have it look a little different from our regular service. And then the top bar here is just what it looks like in the App Store. So this is in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Those went live over the last couple weeks, and we've had a handful of downloads. We've had about 60 plus folks register. A handful of those were internal folks on the Rapids team testing this service, but we continue to see those numbers grow. And we expect that as we roll the marketing out a little more intentionally and a little more publicly, that we'll see that increase. In the beginning stages, we really just wanted to make sure we could meet that soft amount of demand and then ramp up from there. But that's what if you've seen these running around, these are the on-demand vehicles on the road now. These are screenshots from a very similar app in Columbus, Ohio. But as you can see, it really looks a lot like any of the ride-hailing apps you would use in your normal life. So it gives you the pickup, you put in your pickup spot, you put in your destination, it gives you a time estimate, it has all the options for I want to leave by this time or I need to arrive by this time. So that's important for folks that need to get to work at a specific shift time. The payment part, I should mention, there's no payment within the app. So I did mention that we use the Wave card and cash, so that actually simplifies the experience for the user. They just book their trip, the time, destination, and origin, and then the payment actually all happens when they get on board the bus. So that's a little simpler for that end. And then next, as I mentioned, we'll just continue to work with the employers and any other parties in this zone to try to educate them on the availability of the service, help us identify things we can change, how we can improve. Certainly any contacts that you have, whether they're employers or otherwise, please send them our way. We'd love to work with them and onboard them to this service. But we intend to expand the service as soon as we can. Like everyone else, we're in a very competitive talent market, so we're trying to hire drivers as quickly as we can, both for this service and fixed route. But as we roll this out and learn more, we'll expand and we'll see if we can't perfect this service for the constituents in your area and folks coming into the zone. So that's where things sit now, and I would be happy to take any questions you might have.
Turn the mic on.
So if someone doesn't have a telephone, you may have said that I saw something in there, but if they don't have an iPhone or a Samsung or a computer, is there a dial-in number that they can do that?
Yes, so this will run through our dispatching department that also runs our paratransit services,
Okay.
so the Go Bus services. So we do really want to direct people towards booking through the app, but obviously folks have barriers, so we don't want to make it limited to only
I'm just
people
thinking
with
of some of our
smartphones.
seniors that may
Yeah.
not be quite technical. And then the other, what if there's a repeat, if it's someone that wants to go to work from, Monday through Friday and they want a repeat pickup, can that be designated through the app?
Yes, thank you. I should have mentioned that. So customers can book up to 7 days in advance.
Okay.
And then they can also book recurring trips.
Okay,
Yep. And, we hope that will happen more so that we can plan out our dispatching and see what kind of demand we have. But yeah, that's definitely available.
super. Thank you.
What else, commissioners? Commissioner Gilbert, I'll put you on the spot. I know that you were active in the onset of this, I think trial testing it, in concept and what was going to work and what wasn't. So any other background that you want to share?
Yeah, no, I'm glad to see us making some progress on it. It's something that we've been working on for a long time, and of course this has been a priority for the city for a very long time with the rapid getting service to this part of the city, especially with all the employers. For my part, I went to Walker Charter Academy over on 3 Mile. I think it's a great way to connect the school with access to transit service, which they didn't have. I remember before they skewered their school days and started to have different start times, having the long line out on 3 Mile because all the parents had to shuffle their kids in, shuffle their kids out. Now they've done a little better on that because they've made some changes operationally, but stuff like this helps a tremendous deal, just having access for more kids to get there. And again, the work that we're doing in the business corridor over in Northridge, this is, in this competitive talent market, it's a huge deal. So, yeah, I'm just glad to see things moving, and I'm excited to see some of the data come back and start to learn more about what those trips actually look like. And again, of course, you always want to see things like fixed route, because then you've got that proven concept. It's more direct. It's kind of a known quantity how it operates instead of having those transfers. But I think any step is a step in the right direction.
Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioners, anything else?
If I can?
Yeah, Commissioner.
Just real quick, are there any limitations? So I guess I'm thinking, like, if I want to have somebody, can I get picked up at my home and taken to somebody else's home?
If you're within the zone, yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
in that zone on the map, it's curb to curb. So yeah, for anyone that either lives and is just visiting someone, or if they live within the zone and are employed within the zone, they could just use this for those trips.
And are there any limitations to the amount of baggage you could bring with you?
So-
I guess I'm thinking people, I mean, people
Yeah.
might use this for grocery shopping, right?
Yeah. So we're mirroring most of the rules that we have on our fixed route system, which, we allow small carts, things like that. So it's a little bit of take it as it comes, if you wouldn't be able to roll a full-size shopping cart onto one of these vehicles, but
But if I
yeah.
have my sidewalk shopper?
Right. We do have a lot of folks that do their grocery shopping on our fixed route though, so it'll follow the same rules. And I should mention too, we're standing up a similar zone in the southeastern part of Kentwood, around the Broadmoor corridor, and we got some questions last week from their commission around bringing children on board, booking multiple trips, so within the app you can identify if you have an additional passenger coming with you and things like that. So it will serve more than just employees, definitely.
Great. And then I just am curious about the payment method, and I appreciate the flexibility, but I'm really wondering, will there be eventually an option to pay, Venmo or credit or something along those lines? I'm thinking of like the parking, Mo2. You
Yeah.
just click it and go.
Yeah,
A lot
so-
of people aren't carrying cash these days.
Right. No, so we actually are exploring a mobile ticketing technology for our fixed route service. So you could use your Wave card, you could pay with cash or tap cards, either on your smartphone or the smart credit cards. That's a few months off for our fixed route, but it's anything we do there we would mimic on the on-demand route. Because we understand that people's payment preferences are changing rapidly.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think this is fantastic. Thank you. It's
Absolutely.
Really a great
Yeah.
addition to the city.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. We know this is an area that has needed it for a long time.
Sure.
So it's taken too long, but we're finally getting there.
How
Thank you.
about like service dog friendly or pet friendly or, okay,
Yeah, as long as it's a support dog.
Okay.
Yep.
good to know.
One last thing I'll mention too, and we've spoken with Commissioner Gilbert and the mayor about this. We're in the process of developing some performance metrics to try to measure, at what point do we either, bump this up to something like fixed route, or at what point do we say we're just not seeing the demand and the usage we'd like to see. But we don't have those developed yet, but we are working on those. But I should say, the most important thing for us right now is just providing the access. So we're less worried about packing the buses full of folks than getting the service right, getting people on it, and then going from there.
That would be a good segue, Bill. If I look to the future, maybe the summertime, as we get settled with this and have some reporting data behind us, is having you back at that time frame for the commission. It's one thing for Commissioner Gilbert and I to be able to share that information. It's another with your presentation skill. Coming in and sharing what's working, what's not, what changes, if any, are coming. By that point, maybe the payment thing is that gap is closed at that point. So
Yeah, we'd love to come back, definitely. Yeah.
City managers, any questions, feedback? Okay. Good, thank you. And I'd be remiss if I look at that 8,000 number actually within the, from the Fruit Ridge Bridge. In a 2-mile radius, there's approximately right now somewhere north of 15,000 jobs.
Yeah.
Maybe it's close to 16,000. It's really hard right now with the COVID impact still to measure that, but obviously that's significant. And this is one of the tools in the box that we're going to be able to reach for to help address that as we hear from our employers. So thanks for listening and addressing the need, and glad to see you guys out here. So
Yeah, thank you.
all right.
Feel free to reach out anytime. The mayor and the commissioner know how to get a hold of us, but yeah, take my information, and any ideas you have, any contacts you'd like us to be talking to, please send them our way.
And I'll share, as I just shared with Commissioner Groders, I'll share the presentation when I get back to the office afterwards, so just so you can see the map piece.
Last thing that reminds me, we have some educational and informational materials that we're finalizing. As soon as we have those done, we'll make sure to share them with you, and then you can share them with your constituents and spread the word.
And Bill, real quick, when you're out at Kentwood, and when I look at the city of Kentwood, we're geographically almost the same size.
Right.
Square miles. Obviously, population is significantly different over there, but feedback that you heard, positive, maybe questions that they asked when you were there, last. Anything you could share with the group here that might be relevant?
Yeah, similar questions around just the time, the span of service, and needing to try to figure out a way to expand that to meet different shift time needs for the industrial and manufacturing jobs down there. But one of the interesting things that came up last week was Sunday service. A couple of the commissioners said this would be great for folks trying to get to church. So we certainly have our eye on that weekend service. Otherwise, just a couple questions about bringing a kid on board and things of that nature. But they were expressing just similar excitement to having another option for their constituents.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Commissioners, last call. I think we are good then.
Great.
Thank you both for coming.
Thank you so much
Right.
for your time. Have a good night.
Yep, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Commissioners, we have about 2 minutes till we start 7, so if you want to do your stuff here, we'll just take a couple minutes, gather ourselves.
You should mention, we'd like to come back, knowing that you have some customer-facing employees. So once we get some collateral, we'd like to come back and train some of your front-facing employees who, if someone's got a problem, they could offer this as a solution also, so that they're comfortable and fluent in this whole process. So that would be great. We'll see you again.
Thank you, sir.
I think so. I mean, he offered to resign, so.
Counselor, how do you do it? You're moving slow. All right, it is 7 o'clock on the nose. We'll call our regular city commission meeting to order and like to invite Commissioner DeShane to lead us in invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group, to continue to nurture the bonds that bring us together as city leaders. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that affect our residents and our community. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, we cannot walk alone. Please continue to walk alongside us and remind us that all we do here today is for your greater glory. Please watch over those who are sick and in need and make them whole again. Please watch over our military, our police, our fire, as they are always there to watch over us. We ask these things in your name, dear God. Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to invite everybody, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. If I could please ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Carey.
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert.
Present.
Commissioner DeShane.
Present.
Commissioner Glanville.
Present.
Commissioner Groders.
Present.
And Commissioner Chase.
Present.
Thank you.
And I'd like to look for a motion for approval and support for the approval absence of Commissioner Burke this evening.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support. Oh,
Okay. I'll go Commissioner Chase, Commissioner Gilbert. Heard that in stereo up here. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we're good there. Next on the list is approval of the minutes from the January 10th, 2022 meeting. If there are no questions on the minutes, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Support?
Commissioner DeShane, Commissioner Groders. Any other discussion on the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are passed. Seeing we have no public outside of our city attorney, we'll bypass or go through the public comment agenda items. Next on the list is consent agenda is the expenditures in the amount of $1,758,996.20. Any questions on the bills?
1 million.
1 million. Let's do this again. $1,758,996.20. All right. Remind me to bring my reading glasses
Motion
here the
to
next
approve.
time. Thank you, Commissioner Gilbert. Do we have-
Support.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right. Thank you all for patiently working through with me. Next on the list, we have two resolutions. First is it's that wonderful time of the year that we accept the 28 years, going back a number of years, delinquent personal property tax list and authorize signature of waiver and consent to strike petition. So kind of the legalese wording of these are long overdue, smaller property tax amounts that are not worth collecting in our background.
Yeah, and these are from 2016. If you've noticed over the last several years, the list is getting shorter and shorter because we've been doing a better job of enforcing over the more recent years. So this list hopefully will continue to shrink as we go forward, but annual thing that Dan is requesting to be approved so we can strike these.
All right, Commissioners, any questions on the motion, resolution, or the list? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
Make a motion.
Support?
Thank you, Commissioners. Any other discussion on Resolution 22-622? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion, we have a motion from Commissioner Glanville, support from Commissioner Groders, and a struggling mayor up here. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right. Let's get this one right. Resolution 22-623, resolution to approve the 2022 special assessment roll for our downtown development authority. I'll turn to our city manager. Anything extra on this one to share?
Just background, this was recommended for approval by the DDA board last Tuesday. This is the last year of this special assessment installment. We will be looking to renew that for an additional 15 years. We'll be working through that process throughout this year, but the amount of this assessment district in the amount of $124,873 is the same that we have been assessing since 2014. That generates enough revenue to pay for the streetscape maintenance and snow plowing for those areas that front the main roads in the Standale area. So again, one of the annual resolutions we do, and we try to do this in January, early February, so Dan can get this amount on the tax bills.
All right, Commissioners, any questions or dialogue on this? Seeing none, entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
Commissioner DeShane, second by Commissioner Chase. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, resolution 22-623 is passed. We still have no public comment out in the audience, so we're going to move to closed session. Let me make sure I've got this. So would like to entertain a motion. We need to do this by
Yep.
roll call.
Yeah, I left that paper on your, do you got that paper that I left you?
Yeah, it doesn't,
Right on top?
yep, so basically, what this is gonna be a motion, I'll look for motion support to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing Outdoor One Communication LLC, in closed session.
Motion?
Entertain a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you,
Support?
Commissioner Glanville, and second by Commissioner Groders. Probably do roll call on this, Clerk, Madam Clerk?
Yep. Mayor Carey?
Yes?
Commissioner Gilbert?
Yes.
Commissioner Glanville? Commissioner DeShane?
Yes.
Commissioner Groders? Commissioner Chase? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all. So at this point, we are going to enter into closed session in the commission conference room next door.
Do you need anything else from us then? No, just the motion. Okay. All right. It's 7:33. So I will reopen the meeting. At this point. And clerk, I'm gonna change this next time if we have to go through this. I'm really lost here. What do we have to do with that?
That's it.
Okay.
We have the time, and you're,
Yep, I've got that.
yep, that's it.
Perfect.
And then any discussions, like, continue your meeting.
Okay, perfect.
No, you're good.
All right, at this point, we've returned from closed session. I'm gonna start to the left with our city manager. City manager, what are your comments?
Don't you have to make a motion on the consent agenda? I mean, on the
Motion on the business.
business that we conducted first.
Yeah, this is not, apologize, but I'm all. So, all right, what's that? Yeah. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent judgment that we just discussed in our closed session.
And authorize the city manager to execute the consent judgment on behalf of the city.
And to authorize the city manager to execute the consent of judgment on behalf of the city. And do I have a motion and support, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Groders and Chase. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that is done. Okay.
If I may,
Yes.
before I came here, I had a firm board of directors meeting, which involved 11 attorneys sitting on the board of directors. And I have to say, it was a pleasure dealing with a group of rational people.
It's all good. Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you coming in. All right.
I enjoyed that comment.
Okay. All right. Next on the list, we'll start now to the left of their city manager. Now we're good. Safe travels, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, a couple things. Just a FYI, today we were visited by the group of the First Amendment folks that have been going around to the different communities and taking videos of all their staff. So walk into the office and just take film of everybody that's working. So they started down in CDD and clerk's office and assessing, then they came out to the front counter and they just stick their video camera in your face. They went through the courtyard here, looking in everybody's offices, went to DPW, and then went over to the PD, and they probably went to the library too. But there's a group that's going around doing that. Obviously, we have to let them in the public areas, but I'm happy to say that our staff did fine. Everybody greeted them cordially. We waved to them, asked if we could help them, and they said no, and they just kept on their merry way. So, but the security upgrades we've been doing have been really a good help in that by keeping the corridors locked and forcing them to go outside. So, staff did a great job addressing that today. So. That's first thing. Second thing, continuing to work on the budget in preparation of our finance meeting at the end of next week on the February 4th. So those meetings went well with all the departments. So finance committee will be seeing the first draft next Friday on that. And then lastly, regarding the courts, or the court, as you know, we share 59th district between us and the city of Granville. Well, as part of the budget process and just ongoing upgrades of technology and IT, and with Jason on board, he's kind of been going around to each department and looking at what kind of technology they have and what kind of upgrades we can do. Well, the court's pretty antiquated in their IT system. They have separate email addresses at each location. So Jason and I and the court staff met a couple of weeks ago to talk about, is there a way to integrate our IT services between us and the city of Granville? And with Jason being on board as our IT director, now him having some assistance, he came up with the idea of maybe we take that service on and then we bill Granville for those services so we can have upgrades and consistency between the courts. So we're working on, Jason has put a proposal together, the first draft of a proposal he wants to present to the city of Granville. They would pay us a monthly charge of some sort. They would have to do their own infrastructure and capital upgrades over there. But he would be the one that would be in charge of the IT for both offices of the court. So I just wanted to let you know that we're working on that. If you hear anything, I think it's a great idea. We're still working out the details of what that cost would be, but it would be very reasonable for Granville, I think, if they decide to go with that option. They were very interested in it. I think everybody wants the court to run more smoothly in that fashion. So just an FYI on that you'll be seeing a formal agreement if that comes to fruition probably in the next month or two. But, as you know, we share services with the court anyways, and they bill us for probation. We bill them for some other services. So we share costs right now, and the IT would just kind of be another agreement that falls into that. So more to follow on that. Just wanted to keep you in the loop in case you hear anything and see any communication between us and the city of Granville on that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Assistant City Manager.
Just quickly, it sounds like a subcommittee, a working group is coming together from the City Commission, Planning Commission, and Zoning Board of Appeals to help us keep moving forward on the zoning ordinance update. So I assume we'll get a couple from each board, and we'll keep everyone up to date on what's happening. So if you have any questions about what we're doing, if we're not answering your questions, please let me know. And we'll go from there. But we're going to go chapter by chapter. Sign code will be first. And then we'll go from there. So it should be a good product as well. We're already looking at what McKenna and Associates offers. Those are the folks who did our master plan for us. So it was logical to have them help us out in modernizing the zoning ordinance and the layout and just the functionality of the thing. So look for that. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Just wanted to send a thanks to the fire department and the police department for how they handled the Dykema fire, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for communicating to the Second Ward Commissioners that was ongoing. It's a very sad loss, but I think our team, I'm glad we have the equipment that we do, where we can take care of those unfortunate situations. And then regarding our DEI training today, I thought that Gracie did an excellent job, very thought-provoking, very good content, and I really, I think we all stepped away with maybe even a new perspective on things that maybe we learned in other training, but I just can't thank her enough. I thought she did an excellent job. I also enjoyed the Rapid Connect presentation, the app. What a great idea. What a great thing for us to implement in the city of Walker for those in that area, and for just factories that need workers, and some people that either don't drive or don't have a car, and they can use this as a means of transportation. Really excited about this. And then regarding our upcoming finance meeting, will we be getting any kind of information on that from Dan Pryor, or will we
Yes,
just
yeah.
be going over the first draft?
Yeah, you'll probably get that the Wednesday before, I'm assuming, or Tuesday, but he's working on that.
Okay.
Yep.
I figured he was.
Work
I
in
was like,
progress.
oh, I like to have a little bit of time with
No,
it.
I know you do.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Chase?
I'm all set.
All right. Commissioner Groders?
There was a DDA meeting on Tuesday, and we got a little bit of an update, and we're fine tuning on the lights in downtown Standale. And I think we're hopefully getting closer. I don't know, Mayor, you can speak to some of your thoughts on that whole process and how we might move forward, which I concur with kind of your line of thinking. Let's see, the other thing is, can we get a copy of the consent agenda? agenda after it's entered in the court? Is it, I mean, that's not like private or anything.
Oh, yeah,
is it?
no. no.
Okay. That is all?
All right. Commissioner Glanville?
Yeah, I attended a KCCA advisory meeting this past week, and there's a couple grants. We're still waiting to hear on two. I think they're going to award two more of the CDBG grants. So 4 have gone out. And none of them, I think, to us. But they're still talking about coming out with 2 more. So there's still a chance. And then also, just so you know, the Community Action has been charged with handling quite a bit of funding related to COVID mitigation and a lot of the money that's coming through for infrastructure and things. So there's going to be some much needed staffing in the organization, and they're going to be looking for advocacy at the county level to make sure that that staffing is handled. One of the things that their biggest program, or one of their biggest programs, is the Weatherization, where they go in and for eligible homeowners, they will weatherize their home, insulation, updated appliances, whatever they need, plumbing, everything. The home has to be in a certain condition before they'll do the work. So there can't be any like water leaks and things like that. At any rate, we're going to be getting more money than we have the capacity to handle, because Grand Rapids is Kent County is one of the biggest community actions in the state. So that'll be coming up soon. And if you're not tapped into them at all, I would suggest you kind of follow them on Facebook and Twitter. They have food distribution occasionally, and like last week, Thursday, they did a food distribution, and the food that comes out of there is, it's not just like canned vegetables, right? They're getting roast beef, frozen whole chicken. They had shrimp this time, so really quality cheese, really quality foods that families in need can go, and it's a drive-through service. So a lot going on there for families in need. And I've talked before about our Alice households and how we have so many people kind of right on that borderline. So any support we can bring them, I think, is a benefit to the entire community. So just keeping that in mind. And then I want to second our training here today. I'm really pleased that we've taken this step throughout the city to bring in Gracie Harkema to do the work for us or with us, and I look forward to what other partnerships we might have with her, what the next steps are with her, and how we can continue to just work that relationship and bring more understanding to the city staff and ourselves as well. And I think that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Gilbert?
I've got a pretty full update this time. I was given the gift of time, and that was a mistake for the people around me. So I went to the Kent County Local Units meeting. That was great update. I saw Commissioner Groders and Mayor Carey there as well. Good opportunity to hear a little bit from the county, an update of what's going on, and I won't go into all of it. It would take about an hour and a half to cover it all. It was good. It was good to hear, and it's great to see Al Vandenberg. That's someone I know well personally from. Al said it well. It's our third life together, because he was I grew up with his son Peter, but then also he was my professor at Grand Valley, and now we see each other in this professional capacity, and it's just this totally weird experience, right? So anyways, moving on, Adventure Point over at the Boy Scouts' new facility. I was able to participate in the Summit Leadership Programs Government Panel on behalf of the city, because the mayor was busy doing other things. But it was great to kind of get to experience talking with all these kids who are high school age, and they're just trying to learn about leadership, and it was a really interesting conversation. And of course, we had Wayman Britt was one of the speakers, so he outshone all of us, and it was business as usual for him. But it was a great experience, great conversation, and great opportunity to kind of have that open discussion about what leadership looks like and what good looks like in that sense. Fire years of service, went to that as well. Commissioner Burke, Mayor Carey were there. Awesome to spend some time with the people from the department, and of course, we have so many great individuals that serve in those paid on-call positions and the full-time team, and always appreciative of all of them. Planning Commission met on Wednesday. We have approved an urgent care facility on Lake Michigan Drive, so right next to the Flagstar Bank. And it's the company's called Well Now. And I think it's a really great use to have in that location. And I think we all can kind of recognize that that's a good spot for access to that service. It does involve a rezoning, so that'll be coming up here. Just because they were better aligned to the C1 use, even though it's in the DDA district, but it made it functionally more operable to have that urgent care there under that zoning context. So prepare accordingly for that coming up. We talked about the stormwater stuff. I think we've talked about that here. I've talked about it like 100 times. I can't remember all the places. One other thing that we did talk about on the DDA piece, in that Well Now discussion, we're talking about the cross-access barriers across Standale. So obviously we've been trying to do more of that, eliminating the curb cuts, creating some more cross-access between individual sites to get more of that traffic able to move fluidly between businesses without having to like pop out onto Lake Michigan Drive and pop back off. So as we're kind of getting to hopefully the tail end of the streetscaping stuff, that may be a discussion for utilization of some of that funding for some of those connections that might not otherwise happen. Just because, once the sites are in, it's hard to get those little sections of pavement in to create that cross access. So that's something that maybe would be a worthy discussion for our DDA to have. And certainly at the city, we are, I would suspect, willing to have that conversation as well for what our part is in it. But somewhere I think something will have to happen because we're requiring Well Now to put in these cross-access connections to very thin sheets of grass that then go to the paved parking lots. So it may be a small cost, maybe a big cost, I don't know, but it's a discussion worth having. And that is all of my stuff.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk?
We did mail out our first batch of mass mailing for the ballots day. 2,491 ballots went out. So we've got that down. Now we're starting to test our equipment and still recruiting workers. So if you know anybody that would want to work March 1st, we're still lacking a few.
Any specific requirements to those workers
There is not. Over 16 and a registered voter.
within the city?
Nope, anywhere in the United States.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Cool, thank you. All right, well, first, as we're transitioning from the clerk, I might have just snapped at her a little while ago, so my apologies, but we ran hot in from our DEI training, and I should have looked for that sheet before and added my comments to it. So that being said, couple of things real quick. We will, on the February 14th meeting, possibly see an engineering discussion, might be the 28th too, we're not sure, on the Bristol Avenue, as that continues to get fine-tuned. There'll be more conceptual next step discussions at that point.
Yeah, that's the Bristol Panel Bridge.
What was the date on that?
Possibly the 14th, if not
One of
the
the February
28th.
meetings
Yeah.
we're shooting for.
Nothing significant.
February 14th or 28th.
Yep. And then looking forward into March, spoke with Commissioner Steck. He'll be here on March 14th. I will be traveling for business that week, so our Mayor Pro Tem will lead the meeting. He'll give the county updates, and then the 21st, so that everybody could be here. We've moved that to the March 21st meeting. So that third Monday in March, our work session will be a library workshop discussion of this commission. So do please plan for that meeting. And the only last two things I had is the Commissioner Groders had asked about the DDA. I do want to give a significant shout out to our new chair, to David Brinza. And he's coming at this, I think, more from a business context, and he's thrown more ideas, I think, in the last month than we've probably seen in my time in the city. So it's really neat to see the change there. There's some new faces on DDA, so that continues to evolve and better represent that district. And I just feel like there's action taken. The light poles they've taken them way too long.
I think we've let our consultant, our engineering consultant know that, to speed up the process. I think we finally have in large part what we need, to move forward with it. But, it was their first go-around with the city, and, you know, it's, something I think lesson learned for the next time, that, should they be selected for any project. So that's my thoughts on that one. And then the other was, we had last week, just, it's kind of something that Mayor Heisinger started to give him credit for back in the day. It's just the continuance of the Walker Pastors Network. Commissioner Glanville used a word ecumenical earlier, and it was actually something we used in that meeting, last week, because we have so many different, faiths, denomination, and, you know, there's still, just the sense of unity within that group, and it was good to, hear, in there, police and fire shared some updates, and, some really good takeaways. It's always a powerful type of meeting, because you have, those community leaders in the room, and it's about them and not about us at that point. So, I think with that being said, is there anything else for the good and the order that we've missed? Going once, going twice. All right, we'll entertain a motion for approval and adjournment then.
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner DeShane.
Support.
Commissioner Gilbert. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you.